back on another exciting episode of Starfleet So Hail, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Today we're focused on Star Trek Prodigy, Season 2, Episode 3. Who saves the saviors? Who does do that?
Who saves
Do you
the
know?
saviors? I was
you know who
hearing
saves?
everything because I played the actual stream live, and so I was hearing everything twice. I was like, "What the hell is going on?"
Oh, you're one of the audience members that I'm seeing here in the thing.
I'm audiencing myself. I like to see if everything's working well.
Okay, that's good.
I
That's
don't
good.
want technical difficulties to happen.
Do you see the little orange tail over here?
I do.
The little tail. That's my cat. He always likes
I
to.
assumed that much. Yes.
Yay, we have Jill in the audience. Hello, welcome, Jill.
Hello, the
And-
audience. Hello,
And
chat,
we have
as they say.
the chat. Yep, we have Dave Gregory. Welcome back. Hello. I appreciate you all being here. I know the ups and downs stream is happening right now, so I'm sure that's where ups and downs. You don't know, Toddy. I love how you know nothing.
I'm out of touch.
You know nothing, Jon Snow. You know nothing, Toddy.
Oh no! Am I supposed to know this?
Yeah, it's the Trek culture. Sean Farrick, Ellie Littlechild. They do the ups and downs. Like they give ups, like to different beats of a story. Like they'll say, "Oh, this was an up. This was a down. This was an up." Then there's Latinum ups. There's dilithium. No, I don't think I'm making that part up. But there's a lot. It's good. It's a good. It's good fun.
Know about that. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that's fine. As long as you know about this, I'm happy.
Jill quit the ups and downs to come here. She says,
What's
priorities.
That? Thank you, Jill. Thank you so
much.
So
take that. What is it? Trek Culture? Trek Central? Which one is it?
Trek Culture, but they're our friends. We're friends with. They're our friends. They've appeared in our chat. They're like really cool folks. They come hang out. So we don't want to be too hard on them. But yes. Okay. Yes, okay. Apparently they overlap with our stream. I didn't know that. Fridays are so busy.
So what, do they end and then we get all the audience comes over to us?
Maybe they'll. I don't know if they're live. I think they're pre-recorded.
They're not even live. Come on. What is this? Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. So Toddy, I assume
I'm gonna go and review bomb them. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my god.
I'm kidding.
Welcome.
It's not live.
I wrote welcome. Look what I
welcome.
Welcome to our stream. That's so funny. Okay, so you're all caught up, yeah?
All caught up? I'm caught up with the episode we're talking about. I've seen 3 episodes.
Yeah, so you're watching. Yeah, you're not watching.
I have actually. Yeah, I think I've decided that I'm going to do this. I think it's more fun and more exciting. It's more thrilling for me to do 1 episode a week. I can watch it. I can watch it a couple of times. You know what I mean?
Right, with your family obligations and work and everything. Yeah, it's not like you're sitting there binging the whole series.
And then I can watch it by myself too. And I used to take notes. I don't take notes because I've become lazy in my old age. But
you don't take notes.
Not
look
anymore,
at all my notes.
But I can.
I got a lot of notes.
Well, you got notes for the 2 of us. Yeah, but I can appreciate the. I can appreciate the animation and the style and everything, and I can really kind of dig into it.
A couple of quick channel updates. We are doing these streams, of course, every week. So as Toddy just said, he's been watching them 1 at a time, so he doesn't know anything that happens. So please do not spoil anything for Toddy that's coming ahead in the audience if you guys are listening to this, because we don't want him to know. And Toddy, try not to look too. I know you love to look at the chat, so that's fine. You keep looking at the chat, and then. And then normally we do a Deep Space Nine stream.
I've become pretty good at kind of like detecting where the comment or the sentence is going. So sometimes when I'm like, oh no, unless you right
back away, yeah.
This character dies, then I can't really get away from it. You know what I mean? But
well, I mean, Janeway does die at the end of the series, but that's okay because
Okay. All right. Okay.
You know she was mentioned in Picard. She's not gonna die. Come
Yeah,
on.
I mean, like, I know my timeline, so you know what I mean. I know what's going on.
Yes, you do know your timeline. I'm surprised you don't have it in the background. You have Murder Planet back there, but yes, you do.
Do we prefer the timeline? I can do the timeline.
No, it's okay.
I
Whatever
like the art of Prodigy.
Yeah, it's totally cool. So normally we do Deep Space Nine stream on Saturdays at 3 p.m. We won't be doing one this week. Unfortunately, Starfleet Sohail has been called away to a very top secret kind of mission. It involves temporal shenanigans. So,
Oh my goodness!
unfortunately, no.
Dad finally contacted you.
So no DS9 stream tomorrow, but we'll be back the following week. And we're doing the episode. What episode are we? We just did Dax, so that means we're on. I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyways, that's not happening tomorrow. So those of you who look forward to those, sorry, we're not going to do that. And then there won't be an After Dark tonight. However, this is TQIF. Today is TQIF.
He's giving it up. Ridiculous.
So,
the hiatus begins again.
The reason there's no After Dark tonight is because I have to wake up for this secret mission. I have to wake up super early tomorrow, like at 6 a.m. So if I do it after dark,
it's a secret mission in uncharted space.
Actually, Jill, I might not miss your birthday party because I think I timed my break to be right around your birthday party. So, by the way, shout out to one of our longtime viewers and commenters and chatters and supporters, Jill47. Sometime around now is her birthday, or like sometime is her birthday, but we're officially celebrating it tomorrow on the Text Trek Discord. And speaking of Text Trek, I was just about to say, since it's TQIF, there will be a Text Trek episode tonight that will do a deep dive into this episode. In fact, they are consistently doing like screenshots, and they go through each scene by scene.
The professionals.
I don't have. Yeah, they're super pro. I don't have screenshots this week.
Oh, they're hashtag super pro.
They're super pro.
We're so pro. So pro. They're super pro.
They're super pro.
Okay, fair enough. I'll let them have it.
I like that. Anyways, they're coming out tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Totally worth checking them out. We consider the Starship Texas our sister ship, so check that out. So those are all the channel updates.
What are we on? What's your starship, Captain?
The Starship Starfleet Sohail. Starship Sohail. Okay. You're the Starship Tube, right? On the tube?
Starship Tube? I don't know.
Okay. Or Starship on the tube.
Okay. All right. No, I'm just your first officer.
But when I'm on your channel, I'm your first officer, so it all works out. All right, first officer, let's start firsting. So what's the by the way, this episode was written by Erin McNamara. She's awesome on Twitter if you're not following her. And director was Sung Shin.
She's written Voyager novels, right? No, am I mistaken?
I think you're thinking of Una McCormick.
Okay, maybe.
I see how you could have done that.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to.
But it's also possible that Erin... I'm only looking at Erin's IMDb, and they don't put books on there, so...
Okay.
It is possible that Erin McNamara has written it. Erin, if you're listening to this, you're good, awesome writer, and we would love to know if you wrote Star Trek books. We'll look it up, though. We'll look it up later. Maybe Toddy will look it up while I talk. The director, Shin Sing, though, you might recognize because they've done a lot of stuff. They have quite a few credits already. For example... as a director, they've done Star Trek Prodigy, of course, a couple of other things, My Soul to Keep, Garçon, My Side of the Bed, Conjured My Mom, but they were the art department on a bunch of shows, especially Invincible, you'll recognize that, Batman, Pantheon, Justice League. So this is like Sung's kind of debut, I guess not debut, but more directing, which is not usually there in the art department, so that's pretty cool. I like Invincible. Are you still watching that series, or were you ever watching that series?
I watched season 1. I have yet to watch season 2, but yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I haven't watched season 2 yet either, so we both.
It's kind of my, like, while I don't have The Boys to watch, I watch Invincible.
They're in the same kind of they have a similar vibe,
Yes.
don't they? Yeah.
Yes. I wouldn't say that they're the same show in any respect, but no, they do kind of like they're following kind of like the same kind of lane, I guess.
Right, right. So what's the what happens in this episode, Toddy? Give us a very brief, because otherwise I'll go for 20 minutes and
No,
the
but we
audience will
can
go.
do a very brief summary actually for this episode, I think.
Yes, we can. Yeah, I think so too.
So our beautiful team of young, I guess young
Heroes,
heroes,
space pirates, not
space
space pirates,
pirates, young heroes
mercenaries.
plus Nova Squad Vulcan there. They crash land on the other side of the temporal anomaly onto the planet. And to their great surprise, they find themselves captured in the same, I guess, prison cell or kind of like cage as your very own husband, Adric, and Captain Chakotay. There we go.
Captain
Boom.
Chakotay.
Yep. Yes.
We
So,
finally get the moment where we've been waiting for all of season one. Is what's the fate of Chakotay going to be,
what is the
basically?
fate
And
of Chakotay?
are we going to save him? And we finally arrive at this moment.
Mm. So we have, I guess, I can't figure out which one is the A and which one is the B plot. There's just like basically two plots going on, two main stories going on. One of them is, of course, in this force field cage with our heroes and Chakotay. Everyone's trying to, I guess, devise or develop a plan to get out. There's a bit of a realization that goes on when our heroes kind of realize that Chakotay doesn't seem to have any plan to escape, but he should do, because that's how this whole thing gets set in motion with the protostar gets sent back, what have you. So they realize that there's maybe a temporal paradox or temporal loop going on where they have to actually initiate the action themselves. So that's what they do. They get on that. They manage to escape the prison. There's a bit of a firefight going on. We see in, I guess, real life some of the footage that we've seen earlier, except the events are changed. There's a rifle lying around, or phaser rifle that
Yeah,
lying
this
around.
time.
So Chakotay picks it up. He's able to defend, and him and his boy, they actually get on the protostar this time. What?
Crazy.
And so they don't autopilot the thing. It don't go to where it's supposed to go. So they pilot that thing off,
So
which
she's
is kind of
lost in
crazy.
space, which leads to a problem for another one of our heroes who's in the past, or present, I should say, Gwen,
Mm,
who's been fighting. She's been doing the Valura
that's right.
fight sequence with Essentia, hoping to gain the trust of the.
She's not in the past. I
Uh,
disagree. I say she's in the present, right?
sorry, that's no. I corrected myself. I did say the present.
Okay, there
It
you
is
go.
the
Yes,
and it is, in fact, the present, because it says it on the show. It says the
yes.
present when it cuts to her scenes.
So
So
she
yes.
she she is trying to, I guess, defend her interests and defend her
Well,
side of
also
the
just
story
right, also
by
just be
proving.
acknowledged. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
she's trying to be heard basically, and also be seen for who she is as a part of that species, right? So she's fighting that whole fight in what is like the coolest, most terrifying pit that you've ever seen. Got like Egyptian style hieroglyphs, and it's got like particles of the weapons, or what do they call it,
The heirlooms. It's
the
where
heirlooms
and
floating around.
she figures out that this pit or whatever might be the source of their heirlooms,
Mm.
which is
so,
interesting.
so she's fighting the big bad, um and the fight happens, but whatever would have happened in that fight kind of gets changed because she has a bit of a disappearing moment due to the temporal shenanigans that happened with the other guys
Yeah.
on the other side of the anomaly. So yeah.
Is she gonna disappear completely from existence? Like, who knows what's gonna happen? We're left
Oh,
with
come on, I don't believe that for a second.
we're we're left
No, no,
we're left with her trapped in this pit,
the concrete has not set, Sahel.
and the Vonnegut have decided that Essentia will guide them to a future that will make them more powerful. But of course, we know it's going to be a bad future.
It's the wrong move. You know, they chose
Does
the wrong person.
I really like this episode. It has we have a lot of things that I wrote notes about that we can talk about today if you want to, Toddy.
Go ahead.
But yeah, it was really exciting. It didn't go as I expected. I thought they were actually going to save Chakotay. I thought that that was going to be the thing, but like it turns out there's a twist now, and uh, they've basically bungled Janeway's whole plan
They
completely.
fumbled it.
They fumbled it, and they potentially ruined their own future. So,
Yeah,
as
they
far as
dropped the
episodes,
time ball.
yeah. As far as the episodes go, it's very exciting. When I was watching it, I've seen the whole series, but when I was watching it, this was one of those where I was like, and I have to respect you, Toddy, because I don't know how you can't just hit the next episode button because I
That was
wanted to
difficult.
know. I
That
had to
was
know.
difficult.
Yeah, I had to
It
know
was
what
it
happened
was it was because, of course, it was time to put daughter on the tube to bed. You know what I mean? But like it was really one of those moments. Was like, can't we just squeeze this second one in? You know, can't we just watch the next one?
Absolutely.
But
So,
yeah, no.
apologies for my allergies, but why don't you tell everyone what you thought of this episode overall?
Um, no, I thought it was great. I really loved this episode. Um, I think that it was very interesting exploring a lot of the concepts and I guess the ideas uh put forth like concerning the lore of the Valnakat. Like I really love the species. I love the aesthetic. I love like kind of like the history of the people, and I love how they mix like so many different kind of like they've taken all of these elements from different, I guess, things that we see in human culture across the globe, and they've all mixed them together, and it's really cool. So I love that. And then of course, I was hyped to see Chakotay because this is like we've seen him, but we haven't really seen him
Yeah, this is the
until
first
now. This is the
time
first time we
we're
see
finally
the
seeing
guy.
him.
You know what I mean? And so I'm happy to see him. I do very much like his bird friend there.
Adrik.
And
His first, I believe
yeah,
Adrik
there
is his
was.
first officer, if I'm not
Mm,
mistaken.
mm. Um, I like the dynamic between him and the and our heroes. And I was actually pretty surprised to be surprised because I wasn't necessarily expecting to like know everything that was going to go on, but I wasn't expecting such a twist in the sense that they actually hop on the ship and go with it. I was like, what? So that was kind of crazy. It's so wife did point out that like Chakotay left them behind. And I was like, I guess
Well, there was that whole exchange where they were willing to kind of
sacrifice
do,
themselves, what have
yeah,
you.
do the distraction,
They're also temporally displaced, right? And
right? But he doesn't know
Chakotay,
that.
no,
Yeah.
Chakotay, he's temporally displaced, but he doesn't know that they are. He thinks that
Right.
they're from this time, so it kind of makes sense, I think, to not take them home.
He's suspicious that something's up though, because they have like tricorders and phaser. Like they have different. He was like, "Where'd you get that tricorder?" And that one,
mm,
like scene and stuff like that. But I don't think he has time to really think about it and figure
yeah,
it out. He's got bigger
right,
things,
yeah, going on.
to
So,
bigger things going on. But also, I think he just assumed that they had their own escape plan and that they were from the Delta Quadrant. So I think he was like,
mm,
remember, he's like, if you ever make it to the Alpha Quadrant, look me up. You'd be great in Starfleet. That whole thing, which
well,
is kind of
like
funny.
Dahl, for example, I don't think he's ever really seen anyone of his
Like, well,
species
yeah,
or
we know
cellular
because
that looks like him. Yeah.
he's very unique. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was cool. So I have a
I
question
mean,
for you.
also Zero's Medusan, right? But I don't
Right.
think you automatically assume that Zero is Medusan. Like based on Star Trek lore, you're not supposed to be able to see a Medusan, right?
Right. And you
And
don't usually see them in these suits, like body
yeah, you
suits.
don't
They're
expect to
usually,
see
yeah.
like I guess a corporeal mech of a Medusan. That's not something that you traditionally see. So yeah, I understand.
So how do you feel as a Voyager fan, Toddy, especially Voyager's, your favorite Star Trek, I think, if I'm not mistaken,
It
right?
is, yes.
Uh how did it feel? First of all, how did it feel seeing Chakotay, the character again? And how do you feel about Chakotay as a character overall from your experience watching Voyager? And
Oh,
what
that's
was it like
interesting.
to see the character? Yeah.
That's interesting. Chakotay has become somewhat of a controversial character, I think, over the years, and that's mainly because of the depiction of, I guess, Native American culture, and I think everyone's kind of aware of like the behind the scenes, drama now. I also think that maybe Robert Beltran isn't necessarily everyone's favorite actor. But like from a character standpoint, I've always very much appreciated the character. Even if the depiction of I guess Native American culture isn't as accurate as what it could have been, I do think that there wasn't any, I guess, negative intent behind it, as there is, and there has been, for many other cultures and many other people over the years. I think that like everything that they tried to do with Chakotay as a character and from a cultural standpoint was kind of positive, and that's how I've always felt about him. He's a very positive character. He's a very endearing character. He doesn't have that many flaws, I find. Um, and I find that he's very adaptable too to the situations that he's in. So I've always very much enjoyed the guy.
Yeah, as you know, I'm watching. What happened? Oh, okay. As you know, I'm watching Voyager, kind of hodgepodge, and I have to like kind of give it a much more serious consideration. But yeah, I don't find the character to be a problem at all. I mean, as we're seeing more and more these days, like we may not disagree with the performers that we, characters that we love. The performers behind them may be totally different than our value. Have totally different values than us, or have different political ideologies that they ascribe to, and so on and so forth. But I always try to remember the spirit of Star Trek is the spirit of friendship. So I always try to like, keep that in mind, and like,
I'll say something too, actually, to that point. I will say something. There are people that might not necessarily share your values or the value of a show such as Star Trek. And if they don't share those values to a degree or to an extent where they don't get involved with the show, I think that is pretty different from someone that can actually put aside what they believe to portray a character that believes something completely different.
That's
You know what I
interesting. I
mean?
never even thought about that. That's a good
Because
point.
because ultimately they are participants. Anyone that joins up and participates in Star Trek, a franchise, must, like, what Star Trek stands for. You know what I mean? You know what Starfleet, what the Federation, what the ideals of this this phenomenon stands for. You know what I mean? So there is something to be said about putting aside what you think and actually participating in that, because ultimately at the end, when watching the media, I guess, or when watching the art, it is that message that comes through. It's not necessarily the tweets of whatever person or whatever that person thought. It's the message of the character that comes through.
Right. Right. Very good. Very good. I like that.
So
Nice.
I like Chakotay. I always have. I'm also someone that didn't necessarily disagree with the Seven of Nine Chakotay relationship. Though I think I am also part of the people that kind of wanted Janeway and Chakotay to be a thing. Yeah, that made
Which is
sense to
what
me.
Prodigy kind of is hinting at, right? Like,
That kind of
like,
that's kind of what I've been. It made
so you're
sense.
like, you're really
There's a couple of
excited.
episodes on like a planet and what have you. It's like it makes sense. Come on, just do it.
We got at you from Jill, who does not like that idea of shipping
What
Chakotay
one
and
is it Chakotay and Janeway or Chakotay and Seven that Jill doesn't
Chakotay.
like?
I think both.
Or is it Chakotay and anyone?
It's
Jill's
probably
like, leave
Chakotay.
Chakotay alone.
It's Chakotay and everyone, I
It's just
think.
Chakotay and anyone.
We also
Give him back to Seska. You know what I mean?
Oh boy.
Woo.
There's a funny thing Jill pointed out. I don't want it to go too far up in the chat here. I thought it was hilarious that Majel tried to hide her ears while standing next to Dal, Zero, and Jankum. And
That's
I
very
thought that was
funny.
hilarious too. And it reminded me of Spock doing the same thing
Yeah,
in
but
Star
he's
Trek
doing it next
4.
to humans.
Yeah,
She's
but
trying
she
to
was
hide a certain difference that is so like unnoticeable compared to like what Dal, Zero, and Jankum look like. Jankum doesn't even look like a regular
that's
Tellarite. You know what I
true.
mean? They're like so out there
I
design
didn't even
wise,
think
and
about
she's
that
like,
when
"I'm
I
gonna
was
hide my
watching
ear."
it. That's hilarious. I didn't even think about that. That makes it even funnier, actually. That's pretty good. Um,
Vulcan logic, eh?
Dave says, I'm totally crushing on Adric, but more so Tyson. Oh my gosh, Tyson's is hot too, by the way. But that Andorian. Dave says also
Of
positive character,
which
but
gender is that Andorian?
Well, there's four.
There's four.
There's four. Andorians have four genders that they could possibly be. Dave Gregory says positive character, but frustrating. The Voyager production didn't work to make the correction to accurately portray his character and give him a rooted cultural background. I'm glad he was in this series. And
Actually,
then
I'll say this. I don't think this is something that's going to happen necessarily in this season, or I don't think it has happened in this season, because I think the show's kind of got other things to do. But when you asked me what is something that I would want from like this season or Prodigy in general, I do think that maybe a slight course correction, or like kind of like a redeeming act in terms of Robert Beltran, like of in terms of like Chakotay and the depiction of Native American culture. I think that's actually a pretty cool thing. I think to like address the situation head on, rather than like dismiss the character entirely, but to bring the character back and to apply corrections, I think is kind of like a bold and a good way to go. So if they could do that, I don't know if they do it in this season, but if the character continues on, or if the show continues on, that would be a nice thing to see.
it'll be fun to see what you think as we progress along. We got a couple more folks coming into the audience. Hi, Uncle Art. Nice to see you. Where'd they go? Uncle Art, there you are. Hello, everyone. Remember that Toddy has not seen past this episode, so please avoid spoiling anything that happens after episode 3 of season 2. I've seen the whole thing, so I'll try my best
You're just
not to
that kind of
spoil
guy.
it. Not to spoil it. Since Majel came up in the audience, what do you think of the character so far? How are you feeling about her?
I very much enjoy her. I'm
Yeah, me
happy.
too. I think she's cool.
I'm happy. I'm also happy that like we're in this kind of Star Trek groove now with Lower Decks and Prodigy, where we have Vulcans that aren't necessarily like hyper Vulcanized. Like I know Spock wasn't full Vulcan, but it was always like just so intense when they did episodes about his culture, or it would like his comments would always be so Vulcan. Same thing with Tuvok. Like I appreciated having Tuvok as an act, like he was the actual first Vulcan that we saw, and I appreciated it. But now I like how, I guess, kind of like normalized it is to just have Vulcans around, and I appreciate that. It's like they are very Vulcan in the way that they are, in the way that they do things, in the way that they speak, and
Right.
they definitely. But yeah, I like though. Is she a bit Romulan, or is she just Vulcan?
She's just Vulcan, and
Shit.
some background information that's okay to tell you is that behind the scenes, they figure it's not said on the show, but they figure that she's a descendant of T'Pau. And if you'll remember during the arena episode, funny that we had an arena kind of situation in this episode too, but in the original series not arena, my bad. What am I thinking of? Where Ponfar,
Okay.
the Vulcan arena.
Yeah.
So T'Pau's the character with the white, with the braids
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
you see in that episode, and she's kind of like presiding over the ceremony. And she's also on Enterprise. She comes out in
Yes.
season 4. So
Yeah.
yeah, she's awesome. I like the actress they chose to play T'Pau in that, and she reminds me of this character a lot. The way that the actress was in Enterprise reminds me of Majel, which
She's
is pretty
also in
cool.
Voyager
T'Pau
as
was
a
in
as
Voyager.
as a hologram.
Oh, cool! Like the same actress or a different actress was
Don't
T'Pau on
know.
Voyager.
I don't know, but
That's
there's like
neat.
there's an episode where they depict a mock time. Yeah, that's right. There's an episode where they depict different like various people from like the past, and T'Pau's in there.
Let me see if I can find a picture of her. I want to see what their T'Pau is like. I can't find a picture of the Voyager T'Pau. All right, you'll have to tell me what episode that is so I can go watch that later on. That's cool. But yeah, so that's who that's supposed to be. So yeah, you like Majel.
Yeah, I do. I think she's a nice addition. I also think that there's a certain eccentricity to the heroes of the show. like the Prodigy heroes, and that's kind of the nature of who they are. You know what I mean? They're not as disciplined as Starfleet officers. They're doing their best to like adapt to this new life in this new world, and in the same way, I guess Vulcans bring a certain stoicism to lower decks. I think it adds a certain stoicism to like Prodigy and to that group. So I like it. It's got a good dynamic.
Art's in the audience who says, "I've seen it all. It took me 3 days. I watched as quickly as I could. Awesome. We need a season 3." Yes, we
Season
do
3,
need a
people.
season 3. We really do need a season 3. And the way we'll get it is if everyone just keeps watching it over and over. Which, by the way, I am doing my part. I've already binged it once. I've already re-binged season 1 because I was like, I gotta watch season 1. They're easy binges. They really honestly are. You can watch them kind of in the background. I sometimes even listen in the car, just like if it's an audio drama, which works really well too. And I've already watched every episode. I've already watched season 2, but now I've watched the episodes we're talking about 3 times each. So that should be good. At least I'm doing my part. Hopefully, I don't mean
Man's
for
putting
everyone
in
to.
overtime.
I really am. I really love this show. Like, I put out a new excuse me, Toddy, I don't know if you saw that I put out a new kind of episode order, like show order, like my ranking of like where all the Star Trek shows are.
I didn't see that. Really?
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
so
goodness. Where is this? This is top 3, right?
it's the 5th on the list. So
Oh,
it's top 5.
outrageous. I'm absolutely outraged.
But here, this will make sense to you. It's number 1 is Next Generation, number 2 is
Okay.
the original series, number 3 is Picard, number 4 is Deep Space Nine, and then Prodigy comes right after Deep Space Nine.
That's outrageous. I've just seen your list.
It even beats Strange New Worlds, the animated series, Lower Decks, Discovery, Voyager, Short Treks.
But your
and
list
Enterprise.
makes no sense because you have like
Why?
You have Short Treks over Enterprise. Like
do.
I'm not a big fan of Enterprise, but Short Treks over that's disrespectful. You know what I mean? What? There's like an episode where like someone makes tribbles.
It says that
these are just better than Enterprise. Absolutely outrageous.
I put in a hashtag in my thing, which is photo finish. So they're all like it's just slight leads over the others. It's not like significant.
No. Short Treks tripped up, okay, and didn't make it to the finish line. It kind of limped over the finish line after Enterprise. Okay.
I like that you're very adamant about Short Treks' place on the list. But it does deserve
Short Treks has its ups and its downs. I'll say that, see, I'm bringing it back. But no, I don't think Short Treks deserves a spot above an actual show that came out. I feel like that's a bit of a weird take. You know what I mean? You got like a lukewarm take there. But anyway.
Art is reminding us, has everyone seen the postings that there is going to be a panel at San Diego Comic-Con?
I saw that, yeah.
With Russell T. Davies and Alex Kurtzman. The rumor is they will be handing out a crossover poster. Interesting. I'm a serial monogamous. It's true. I get married to these characters. And then, some people call me the Black Widow of Star Trek. Because most of my husbands are red shirts, and they've been killed. I still have some surviving husbands, though. Art agrees. Short Treks was absolutely brilliant. Enterprise season 4 is amazingly good. I guess because of season 4, it does deserve. You could consider Short Treks at the bottom, Toddy. You've convinced me.
Oh my goodness! I think that's the first time ever in the history of every. Like, come on, what? Okay. Jill's just posting things to offend you now.
Maybe. We also have Cake is Eternal in the audience, which is cool, but they're having internet problems.
I agree with you about the photo finish thing, where like it's very difficult to choose like specifically a favorite or a best Star Trek show, because I feel like
they have
some
so
of
many
them
good there's so many good things in each of them.
None of them are also on the same, I guess, playing field. You know what I mean? Like some have 7 seasons, some have 1. of
Right.
two.
Some of
You know what I
three.
mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's difficult. Some of them, they had to cut it short. They got canceled. Others didn't. It's very, some are animated, some are not. Some are 20 minutes long, some are 50. So it's very different. But that's what's so cool about Star Trek. Everything's unique.
Oh, when I was saying what Jill's rock bottom was, I said short treks, but she meant Picard.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I said
Is
she's
that
trying to hurt you.
I didn't realize.
Season 3 couldn't save it. It just couldn't.
It's very cold in space.
I don't agree with rock bottom, but I don't disagree. You know what I mean? Like it's
And Art's telling me to hold to my guns. Commodore Trev says short tracks Enterprise is greater than Enterprise because one dumb Tribble episode is greater than 4 years of blatant, unabashed misogyny. Wow.
damn. I will say that Enterprise was very disrespectful to women, but it was also very disrespectful to men. It objectified everyone. It was a weird time, the 2000s. So yeah.
Well, when we get to our Enterprise streams, we'll talk more about it in detail. That'll be like a while. It's gonna be the last.
I
That'll be the
whispered,
last one that I do.
Jill, I whispered that I also don't disagree entirely with the take. So yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Mm.
Interesting.
Enough about
So,
that.
yeah.
We're talking Prodigy.
Back to Prodigy. So
Bring me
we
some
get.
notes.
I'm like trying. I'm trying. Well, okay.
Come on.
So what was your favorite scene in this or part of this episode? And what was your least favorite part too? I want to know both.
My least favorite part? I don't have a least favorite part. I couldn't think of one.
Ooh, I like that.
I couldn't think of a least favorite part. I do think my favorite scene was I think it would have to be like the going down into the ceremonial pit there. Where you kind of see like the decor, what they're going to fight in, all the little heirloom particles floating around and everything. And just before the fight initiates, it's really cool because you get this like, what's going to happen? There's like a thrill. So that was my favorite scene. I think my favorite moment.
She was gonna beat Essentia. I like that she says, "I don't actually have to beat you. I just have to leave you behind," which is kind of like, I think that was a moment that was like kind of a little eye opening for me personally because, we have a lot of people who are trying to prevent, progress and like, humanity from moving to the future, if you will, in a positive way and trying to keep us back, such as what Essentia is doing. She's trying to keep the Vonnegut as a insular, xenophobic species that doesn't really care about space travel or knowing others, and so Gwen has this realization. It's like fighting this person who's so close-minded and stuff like that is only going to lead to more fighting. Like they're just so set in their kind of perspective that it may not be something that you could convince them, but if you leave them behind and you just move on, then that's the worst fate that could happen to a person like that. No one wants to be left behind. Essentia wants to be a part of a future. It's not the ideal future or like the most fair or equitable future, but she wants to bring about a future. And Gwen's basically saying, we don't need you in the future. We just need to leave you behind. I thought that was the best diss ever. And like,
So in the defense of Essentia, I do think she is actually somewhat convinced that what she's trying to do is like for the best. And also like she's lived through a situation that she doesn't want to reproduce, and she just doesn't know how to handle it. And I think that she has more leeway than certain people on this planet do, because we haven't seen the future. We haven't had people that come back from the future and trying to go either way. Like people on this planet, some of them are just being dicks to be dicks.
Do you see Essentia changing her mind, perhaps?
I don't know if I would like that, because I do appreciate a villain being a villain. Like I will say that. She could. If she does, I would maybe see like her younger Essentia changing her mind, or something like make it bloody melodramatic, like make it like a tragedy, where like she ends up killing her younger self or something, and they
That
fight each
would
other,
kill her. Oh, that would be
and they
crazy.
would both die. You know what I mean? The
Oh,
tragedy of
wowzers.
like she can't she can't handle it. So yeah.
What would that be like? Imagine you come back in time and you're like a certain way, and then you're like having to face your younger self, and like they're not exactly how you are, like
No, but okay,
necessarily.
so going back to face your younger self and realizing that your younger self is not how, like, I guess you remember is one thing, because you're kind of cringe when you're younger, or you cringe at yourself. But having your older self come back and then you realizing what you've become, and you've really become someone that embodies, I guess, ideals that you don't believe in as yourself now, that would be really, really tough.
There's another character who's different from their older selves, which is the diviner. How did you feel about like so far where that's going?
Oh, I
And
love, I
yeah,
love new, not yet diviner. Um,
not yet divine. Oh, I
yeah,
love that. I love calling him the not yet diviner. That's a great
I,
name.
or diviner to be. I think well, I guess the objective is for him to not become the diviner, right? That's kind of like what we want, isn't it? Because the diviner was the evil version of him, I guess. But yeah, I no, I like him. I like him. I like him a lot. I think the voice acting is great, and I think that he's actually a very charismatic and kind of like enjoyable character.
Yeah, I would say so too. He's really sweet to Gwen so far. I like that he gave her his voice, like that whole
Yes,
scene.
he's actually a very good father and a supporting father in this, which is like a direct opposition to like how he was. You
It's
know what I mean?
weird. Must be weird for Gwen to have gone through being raised by the diviner and then meeting who came before the diviner
Mm,
and like
mm.
genuinely being like, oh wow, like like this is like a different dad,
Are
you
you
know,
his
like
twin brother? What is this?
indeed. I like that scene where he comes in and he requests, to give Gwen the stage. And I like that the elder calls him Stargazer. You may
Yes.
give her your voice, Stargazer. You. So I really like that part. It seemed like a reference to Picard
No, no, it can't be a reference
in
to
some
anything.
weird,
They've
some
never
weird.
used Stargazer in Star Trek before. It's completely new.
um, Aside from that, though, we also do catch glimpses of the diviner in the future, because when the protostar goes away, that one character that takes off their mask, that's the diviner in the future. So it's interesting to see both him in both places, if you will.
Mm.
It's so cool what Prodigy has done in season one. Like we know what happens so well that we know exactly where, like every little thing I feel like is like,
Yes.
oh, I know what's going on. Like I know where I am. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of a
It
cool way
is.
that they've done.
It is rare, and I know people are gonna say I'm shilling and everything, but like I genuinely believe this. It is rare to see a show that so well handles, like, I guess, exposition and setup balanced with like an actual like enjoyable and well paced like episode list, um like Prodigy has done in season one. Because as much as I enjoy and love, like we can talk about, I don't know, Rings of Power, I feel like Rings of Power really, like, it put a lot of priority and emphasis on setup. And sometimes it does hurt the pacing, or sometimes it does hurt, a bit of the storytelling. And I could go over like other shows that have their, but I feel like Prodigy season one really did a good job, because even if the show were to end after season one, it would be heartbreaking, of course, but like it worked well as a show. All of the episodes, they worked well for what they were. But just the setup, and as you say, like the way that it was set up so clearly. It wasn't any like which you don't know what the hell kind of timeline you're in thing. You know what I mean? It was like what's going on, where it's happening, and it's so easy to follow in season two.
That's right. Very cool. And speaking of which, uh, Magel refers to this as a causal time loop, and then she references the Bell riots and the flight of the Phoenix, which I thought was cool. So this time loop, according to like what we're seeing right now, is very similar to that, where it's like, you know, Cisco had to become Gabriel Bell. Was he always good destined to become Gabriel Bell? You know what I mean? Like, who knows? Who was the first Gabriel Bell? Like, how did it, like start? And the same thing with the Phoenix. Like, history recorded the flight of the Phoenix at a certain time. It was what was responsible for, first contact. But was the Enterprise E crew there all along? Like, what? How did it happen the first time? So it's very similar to this, where we're seeing
It was the
that
Enterprise all
all along.
along.
Did you see the trailer for Agatha all along? You gonna watch that show? It
No,
looks good.
no.
But I like that I think they also call this the bootstrap paradox, if I'm not mistaken. That's like the common kind of name for what kind of temporal event this
The
is. Like, it's like,
bootstrap paradox. I never heard that before.
so there's an expression, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, right?
Okay.
So it essentially translates to like, you're the one, like the person, like,
You
the
got to do
time
it. Like
travel,
you got to do it
you're
yourself.
you're the one who's got to do it to
Yeah.
make what you think the future is
I
happen.
love
Like,
myself.
but you didn't know until you were there. So
Hmm.
it's in your timeline, it's the present, but it's also your future and your past. It's like a weird it's like a really weird thing.
I would be
But
exhausted if I time traveled. I would take
I'd be
naps all the
exhausted,
time.
and I'm getting a
I
headache
just I
thinking
couldn't
about the
I couldn't
bootstrap
handle it.
paradox.
You know what I mean? If I met myself older or younger, I'd be just like, okay, let's take a nap and then we'll talk about it because I can't handle this. It's too much. Time shenanigans is terrible, but they're handling it very well. Actually, I will say, because
I
I
will
think
go ahead and say that I think Star Trek Prodigy has done time travel pretty much the best of any of the Star Trek series, TV series. Like, Picard would be the only other comparison, because season
oh
2, I think
come on, you
season
Picard.
2 but season two's time travel stuff kind of is like shaky, wishy-washy a little bit. You have to kind
Hmm.
of suspend your disbelief a lot. But here, I feel like I get it, even though I really don't. I feel like I get what's
No,
going
but
on. You know what I mean? Like,
well, okay. So I think some of the audience probably knows that I'm not a big fan of time travel. I feel like certain temporal anomalies or like specific temporal I guess mechanics in specific places is something that I do enjoy, like a wormhole that has a temporal mechanic going on. That's okay, but just general time travel stories, I'm kind of over it. But Prodigy has dealt with it in such a way that it feels like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like you're watching a time travel story. Time travel just so happens to be one of the mechanics that is helping the plot move along. And
well said. Yeah, I think that's true.
it's different. It feels different, and it feels very natural, and it's working well.
I think I saw in an interview that Aaron Walke said he went out of his way to make sure that not only did we do a time kind of temporal thing, but that they would do as much as they could to explain it. And
Mm,
so,
mm.
yeah, it's very cool. Next week's episode is called Temporal Mechanics 101, by the way. So
Finally, do we read the book?
is he gonna finally read
Ah,
read the
pick
book?
up a book, dog. Pick up a pad. You know what I mean?
Oh, did you notice that Adrik's species is an avian species without wings?
No, I was actually trying to figure out if he was one of the two species that we see in the animated series. But I don't know enough about my bird people. You know,
Well, caca.
I am bird person.
He reminds me of those guys from Lower Decks, but he's an offshoot of the Aurelians, or Aurelians, I think they're called.
Okay.
But
I love how there's so many different species of bird in Star Trek now. You know what I mean? It's really cool.
Yeah, we never met the avians in Enterprise, right? Like they
I
were.
think we've had more birds now than we've had like cetacean ops.
I love the birds. But speaking of birds, I loved all of Jankum's
I want a
like.
spaceship that flaps as it moves.
It's true, Cake. That is one of my other husbands, Rada. I know all their names.
Okay, so
All
hold on,
but
hold on. You have two bird husbands?
I do. I have something for the
You got a
bird.
thing for
It's for the
feathers, right?
birds. I have something for the bird. What's that?
You got a thing for feathers.
Yes.
Hmm.
And as we discussed in a previous discussion, cloacas.
Oh yes, that's right.
Remember,
So the cloaca man.
I had to educate you.
For the record, I've never been intimate with a bird, so I don't know these things. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness. But what was I totally lost track of animal husbandry. Yes. That's where I was going with this, is that Jacob's little puns, his bird puns were fantastic.
I loved them.
I
It
love
was so funny. I feel like the
I thought I was cracking up throughout the whole
so
thing.
Jankum wasn't my favorite character in season 1, and I felt like sometimes he was just a bit much. You know what I mean? It's not a dig at the show. It's in real life there are people that sometimes they're just a bit much. But I feel like they kind of he has grown. Like they show us that he's had growth in the beginning of like episode 1 there, where they kind of show that he's trying to like, I guess, temper himself and what have you. And it's actually working. And I feel like the comedy and what they're doing with the humor is working well here. So he's not completely over the top all the time, but he's got those little puns, those little jokes. I don't mean to ruffle your feathers. I'm like, okay, that's funny.
What else does he say? There was other things. He's also the hero of this episode. He breaks them
People
free.
are saying that you should stop dating birds because you're clearly allergic to feathers. Like, I mean, look at this.
Sometimes you have to put up with your allergies.
You might be a Klingon. Is that not the Tribble doing that to you?
Oh, maybe this Tribble is giving me allergies. I think I need to get a air filter is what I need to get for my room, and then that might improve the situation.
Don't do the AI Sahel. Okay.
Jacob was kind of the hero of this episode with the whole hand routine, call back to the Addams Family kind of thing.
Yeah, I like that. I was like, oh, it's the hand. No, I like that. I like that. I guess they kind of have like out of the box solutions, because they're kind of like the little misfit crew. You know what I mean? They're not.
Yeah.
They're not brainwashed by Starfleet yet. They don't do Starfleet or don't do things the Starfleet way all of the time. And also, yeah, he's got that hand. So like that's something that Chakotay couldn't have done, basically.
It makes me really curious, like before the paradox occurred, like how would Chakotay and Adrik have escaped? Something else must have happened, which is interesting, but it doesn't really matter anymore because
it didn't.
That
was the loop.
Right. That was
they never did.
Yeah, that's true. They had to this had to happen for that to happen, but then now that's changed with the gun. Yeah, it's true. It's very interesting to talk. I have to keep talking about it, but I like when Majel like kind of puts Dal in his place. Like he's like, "Well, I was the captain," and she's like, "Well, he wants to be the captain, but he's not yet." And then earlier, it's interesting. What do you think is going on? Because Dal also is like comparing her to Gwen, and then earlier he's like, she's not my girlfriend when they talk about Gwen, when they were talking about Gwen. So like, what do you think is going on there?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember? Yeah. Dal does that stupid thing that boys do sometimes when they don't want to admit that they have a girlfriend because they're like still immature. Okay. And
so he's got the crush and everything, but he can't really handle it.
Well, he and Gwen are totally in a relationship, but he's like, she's not my girlfriend. Like, pretending it's something.
Well, technically, she cut off. You know what I mean? So when he said, "What's going on with us?" she's like, "Bye."
But that's something typical. Like I remember when I was like, I didn't have girlfriends, but like, you just didn't want to be like,
Really?
ew. It was like still kind of cooties, like, or whatever, in those, yeah. LOL boys, Dave Gregory says, I agree. But yeah, and then he was like comparing
Do young boys like the young gay boys have the same kind of I guess dynamics as like the young heterosexual couples, like when they're teens or that kind of stuff, or is it are there different dynamics at play?
I would imagine inherently that there's different dynamics just because of the stigmas and kind of all the things associated with being a homosexual.
Okay.
Even today, I mean, it's a little different. It's more accepting, but there's still other things. So I imagine the dynamics are a little bit different, but I think overall there's a lot of similar urges and feelings and things like that. I don't think those are gender exclusive, if you
Mm,
will.
okay, fair enough.
Well, Toddy, we're coming up to the hour. I think audience, have we missed anything in our discussion? I don't think we missed anything. I think we talked about everything, all the important beats of
It
kind of
looks
doing it.
great. It always
Yeah.
looks
Oh, and
great.
the music was really good too. Like when Gwen decides to like peace out and escape. Oops, sorry.
He's disappeared. I do have a bit of.
Talk about the music. Talk about the
Let me talk about the music. The music's good. I don't know what you were going to say about the music. I'm going to say that I do have a little uncanny valley sometimes when looking at like Chakotay. And I kind of felt the same thing with the Doctor. I think we talked about that last week. But I don't have it with Janeway. So perhaps it's just about like getting used to it. You know what I mean? Like this is kind of like the first time I've really seen Chakotay on screen and what have you. So maybe that's what it is.
Very cool. Jill in the audience. Let's see. There's a couple of comments actually. Um, the Jihad is the episode with the bad bird. That's right. I remember
Well,
that.
yeah, they're talking about the animated series. The Jihad is
I've
one of
been looking.
Jihad is one of the last episodes, I think.
I think so. I've been looking at birds, so I'm not sure what they are talking about now. Oh, okay, that's referring to us. That's funny. Um, the Diviner was really upset with Gwen lost. That yeah, he was really upset. I like that. He was like, no, no. I love John Noble's voice. Dave says we can have similar dynamic relationships wise, awkwardness, jealousy, denial. Oh yeah, gay guys just as dramatic. I'm going to go get a t-shirt made. That's hilarious. So overall, this episode, I think, especially after this discussion, I realized, Prodigy really does a great job of packing in a lot of information in just 20 minutes. Like, there's like so much going on
Yeah,
in this
these
episode. It's crazy.
gents, I'll say that because there's a like Lower Decks episodes. We always talk about how much they fit in, and they do fit in a lot. You know what I mean? But they fit in a lot of jokes. They fit in a lot of humor, and then I guess they can give you, they give you a story, but to a certain degree, it is kind of like a skeleton story to support, like just to carry the jokes. And but they'll give you a bit of heart to go with it. You know what I mean? Prodigy is a different beast because there is comedy and there's humor in it, but it's not a comedy show. It's a full-on drama. You know what I mean? Like the same way the Next Generation or Deep Space Nine is, or Voyager, and so it's giving me just as much show as those shows in half the time, which is genuinely impressive. I'm very impressed with this. Like the pacing is very well handled. So the people that are directing these episodes, and the people that are cutting it and putting the final edit together, they're doing a very very good job.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. So let's wrap this up and give this episode our ratings. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Solid episode. Not solid. That's like extraordinary episode.
Yeah, so just a regular normal episode, 10 out of 10. You know, when it's a good one, we give it a 15 around here.
It's true. Toddy's gonna give you the solid episode rating now.
Yeah, no, so Hell's like it was terrible. It was shit. I hated it. 9. Um I mean, come on. Um,
9.
yeah, he's like taking one little point up. I think I'll give it a 7. I think I'll give it a 7. A
It
7
was
out of
atrocious. That was a 6.
I'll never watch it again. 6.
That was a 3. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. One must laugh at their own.
Yeah,
thing.
but
So,
hey,
so yeah, what's your
it's
rating?
it's for the memes at this point, isn't it? You don't really do ratings for do the ratings. Basically, I do ratings, and you just sit there and go 10, 10.
I have to offset your wrong ratings.
I give it a 7 out of 10. I give it like
All right.
a logical rating. Come on.
Very good. A solid, as I said, a solid episode indeed. Lots of fun. Next week, Temporal Mechanics 101. I'm really looking forward to watching it with you. I mean, to watching it and then talking about it with you, Toddy. So thank you for joining me today. Audience, give us your ratings in the audience if you like. And we'll see you here next time. So don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe. We're on YouTube, we're on X, we're on Facebook, and I think we're going to be on Instagram doing a live broadcast soon. So we'll see if it
We're on
works.
everything.
We're on everything.
All of it.
Go watch us anywhere, but we like it on YouTube because then you get to hang out in the chat. So that's my favorite place. But got anything to promote or tell folks about?
Star Trek Prodigy, I guess. Watch Star Trek Prodigy. No, I have nothing to promote, but I do have people to thank. Thank you all for watching this. It's very kind of you guys to participate. Yeah, it's very fun to do. I love doing this. And I love that you guys are all around. And I love how no one spoils it for me. It's very kind. So thank you.
It is very kind. I love it too. All right. Oh, do you have any speculation for how they're going to get out of the mess?
Oh, well, now it's even worse than last week. I don't know.
I know.
I didn't know last week. Now how am I supposed to know now?
You know that it's
crumpled everything. I don't know.
Awesome.
They need something like they need like an ex machina kind of solution. Like, you know what I mean? They need like a time traveling being, like a Guinan, to come out of nowhere and to swap like a Q to put them back into who time travels across the galaxy. Who's displaced? Who's ascended? Someone that's ascended in Star Trek needs to come and help them out. That's what needs to happen.
Oh, interesting. An ascended character.
An ascended character. You know what I mean? The koala's out there ascending people. So
well, we'll find out. All right, folks, live long and prosper, and we will see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Yay!